wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop coming.
All right, hello everybody. Appreciate it. Let me move this camera. There we go. Maybe back just a little bit there. There you go. Look at that. Nothing but professional setup here. This is a professional setup over here. You know, professional stream. Probably not. But what I do know is I do know a little bit about art. I know a little bit about artwork. I'm going to share with you guys a brush that I've created. I've made a couple of live streams showing you guys brushes that I've made that are out there. They're available to purchase if you guys want to use them in your own workflow, to use them for your own professional work. They are made by a professional for professionals and aspiring artists. So if you're an aspiring artist and you want to start using professional tools, I've created brush sets for you. And auto actions, templates, and a lot of useful tools for a program called Clip Studio Paint. So I'm not in the business of making digital art products and digital art tools. I actually made them specifically for myself to help my workflow, to help me make deadlines, you know, to try to streamline, you know, the my work as much as possible. And so I've created these brushes, and people were constantly asking, you know, what are you using? What are you drawing with? What kind of pencil are you using? What kind of quills are you using? How are you getting that kind of look? So I've created brushes and decided that I wanted to share those brushes with you. And I did make them available to purchase, but I also like to give free stuff. I like to help as much as possible. So I like to give away as much things as I can to make things, you know, helpful, you know, to help the comic book industry. I really believe in the comic book industry. I want the comic book industry to thrive. And I know right now that if you're an aspiring artist and there's very few work out there, money's tight, you know, and so the more that I can give, you know, the better, you know, because when I was an aspiring artist out there, you know, there weren't any freebies out there. There were very few people willing to help. I had to take the initiative and just, you know, get out there and try to meet people and to try to, you know, whatever information I could get from them and try to find what was useful from them, because there were very, very few. You know, and this course was back in the 90s. We didn't have the internet like you do today. So now we have digital art that we can use for comic books. And if you go over to my Gumroad at jimmyreyesart.com, you're going to find that there is quite a bit of things that are free out there. So I don't know if you're aware that there are free things out there on the internet. There are artists out there who are sharing free things for Clip Studio Paint. Inside of Clip Studio Paint, you know, Clip Studio is part of a program. Well, Clip Studio is the application. Clip Studio Paint and Clip Studio 3D Modeler are underneath that umbrella. They're within Clip Studio. So if you go to Clip Studio, there's a lot of great resources where even I myself download things like materials. There are people that will scan in, you know, the graphite of a pencil or the line work of a quill, and then you can take that material, build and make your own brush from that if you don't know how to scan in and make your own material. So Clip Studio's got a really great resource. The problem that I ran into is that many of those artists were not comic book artists. Clip Studio Paint can be used for storyboard artists, concept artists. It can be used for manga, you know, which is officially the mangaka, which is a manga artist. And so their line work and their look is slightly different than what we use here in the U.S. in Western comic books. So I thought to myself, I'd like to be able to give free stuff, because on Clip Studio, not all of it's free, but there is quite a bit. So if you spend time looking through there, you can find a lot of really good resources in there. And so I want to contribute. I want to give away some free stuff. So if you click the link in my chat or in the description of this video, just go on over and check it out. On Gumroad, I have free wallpaper that you can decorate your computer wallpaper screen by superstar artist David Finch. David Finch has done Batman. He's done the Avengers, done Wonder Woman. He's working on a creator-owned book. He's worked on just about everything. The guy is a fantastic artist. He did a wallpaper of one of my characters from a book that I've done called Dragon Rage. I've also done a book, Dragon Rage, so you can put that on there, and you can hopefully you can find it inspirational, and hopefully that'll inspire you as you are working. But if you're just looking for free stuff, so when you ink comic books, originally the number one tool that we used to ink comic books was called a Kolinsky sable. It was either called a red sable, or it was used by the hair of a sable, the hair of a weasel, or used from a different type of animal. And it was the red sable, and it is a fantastic brush because it will hold India ink very, very well. It'll hold it. It'll spread. It's very smooth. It'll retain its tip and point for years to come, and as long as you treat your brush properly. Fantastic brush. And it was most popular Kolinsky sable brush that I used back in the 90s that had been around long before that was the Winsor Newton Series 7 brush. I really enjoyed that brush. I used it for many years. When they kind of changed some of the laws, some of the regulations on the type of sable and type of hairs they could use on the tip of the brush, they shifted and it changed just a bit. And in the opinion of artists, we felt that it declined. So many of us switched over to Raphael 8404 and 8408 brushes. Fantastic red sable brush. They're amazing. When I decided to go digital, when I came digital, Clip Studio Paint already has a G pen, and they already have different type of brushes in here that you could use that were primarily created with manga, the art style of manga, with that in mind. And there was nothing out there like a Kolinsky sable. I went through, purchased several $100s worth of brushes and brush sets. And unfortunately, I didn't find one that worked like a Kolinsky sable. And it wouldn't be years later, it'd be about a year or two later of working in Clip Studio Paint that I realized that you could create your own brushes. Once I got comfortable enough, I learned from watching videos from a guy named Scott Drummond, and I think he still has his YouTube channel up where he shows you how to make brushes. And then, of course, working with manga artists who've been using Clip Studio Paint. This particular manga artist, she taught me how to make my own brushes. And I spent the next several years just crafting a brush, making a brush to make it feel like an actual Kolinsky sable. So I want to show you guys this brush that's absolutely free. So you just click it, right? This isn't an infomercial. I'm not trying to sell you snake oil. And I'm sorry if I sound like, the sham wow or whatever. This isn't that kind of thing. This is really, I'm just trying. I don't know why I would have to try to convince another artist that, hey, there's a brush there for free, absolutely for free. And it's the best brush in the industry. If you don't believe me, go over, look at the ratings on the 156 ratings just alone on that, with over 3,000 downloads on this particular brush. And those that have left ratings, they're all positive. Everybody's been extremely satisfied, especially at the price. The brush is free, and it's fantastic. To be honest, it feels just like Kolinsky sable, and I'm giving it praise. And my peers who are also professional inkers like myself, I have inked over David Finch, I've inked over Brett Booth, I've inked on Avengers. I have inked, Ghostbusters, Starship Troopers. I have gotten to work with just fantastic people in the industry, and I still continue to work with these people, with different people and on different books, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And I am now working on creating my own book, and this brush feels just like that Kolinsky sable that I use, and I'm gonna show you guys. So if you go on over just browse through, peruse through my Gumroad. It's free. Doesn't cost anything to window shop digitally. Just takes a minute of your time. Get yourself stuff that will actually work for you. This is an investment in yourself. All that's going to cost you is your time. It's just all you do is just type in an email address, download this stuff. You don't pay anything if you don't want to. If you decide you want to donate something, you can. If you're not able to, don't worry about it at all. Just the fact that, if you get time, leave a review. That would be a great payment in itself alone. I greatly appreciate that. Let me show you guys the work that I could do with this Kolinsky sable. So here's a demonstration of what that actual Kolinsky sable, what you can actually do with it. Now, depending on how fluent you are and how comfortable you are with the program Clip Studio Paint, and how developed your eye is for line work is going to really vary. But so it's going to vary the type of quality line that you'll get at the beginning. So if you use this brush and you go, well, I'm not getting the type of line work Jimmy's getting, keep in mind that I've been inking comic books for over 30 years. I've developed quite a bit of an hand-eye coordination and techniques. So what I've done is I've tried to put my experience, my techniques, and try to program them into the brush, try to get the brush to do as much for you as possible, so you don't have to worry about spending 30 years like I did trying to master a light hand and how to control a Kolinsky sable, because they can be very difficult to control and manipulate. It's a very, it's a type of tool that does take quite a while, but it can give you a wide range of lines traditionally. I want that when we went digital. I want it the same brush. And if you notice over screen on the left, you can see I'm kind of like rotating over here, flashing the left side of your screen that way over there. It is brush number 2 in the set, in my set. And by the way, if you've purchased my brush set, I have created a new brush that I've been using in my work. If you watch my videos, I've shown how to ink with a sponge, not an actual like dishwasher sponge, but with an artist sponge, how you can create texture. I have a video that I made. It's an older one in my library. I think I made it back in 2014, 2016 when I started creating videos, somewhere around there. And I have now gotten comfortable enough with creating a lot more of brushes. And so I've now created a brush to give me that sponge dip, where you dip that sponge and it gives you a little bit of a random kind of texture. I've been playing with that brush, working with that brush for about a year. I haven't released it because I like to make sure that I'm going to use them myself before I ever release them out in my set, because I'm creating that kind of brand. If you get the Jimmy Reyes art brushes for Clip Studio Paint, know that brand is quality. It is quality up there. It is all stuff that is functional and you can use as a professional artist. So this Kolinsky sable, what's great about it, if you look on the screen, I can do a big thick line with it. And then the same brush, I can do a really thin line. I can change my line weight simply by changing up the amount of pressure that I put on my stylus and the angle. So this particular brush, because when you actually ink with a Kolinsky sable, not only do we ink with it vertically, we also ink with it a little bit horizontally. We kind of angle it just a little bit, and we have a really soft sable hairs that will bend, and they're so great. They keep the point and the tip on the shape on there. So when you go digital, you want the same thing. You need tilt action. So I just tilted right now, meaning that here's my screen, and I change the angle of my stylus just at an angle a little bit, because a lot of us, we have our stylus at an angle, right? We want to be comfortable. We're going to sit here for hours. It's got to be ergonomic, meaning that we have to be a good posture. Our neck and backs can't be hunched over for very long. We're going to run into trouble and problems with that. So if we can tilt this brush a little bit, we can get more of an actual sable brush, and that's really where the secret is. So that was one of the big secrets there. And of course, the type of material I've created, the type of pin pressure, angles. There's a lot more technical goes into it, but primarily that's what separated my brush from many other things. One of the first things I discovered right away is that you can kind of angle your brush and then You can angle it like this and then slowly raise your brush up, and it will give you a different curve in your line. It'll give you a different type of like a smooth feathering. And you can also do the same thing vertical with, changing up the weight and pressure. And if you get really creative and fancy, you want to do tricks with your brush, you want to get even more control on it, then what I recommend is, you can angle it and raise your brush as you throw your line. And at the same time, go light to harder pressure. So if you kind of do this little angle, you can really just get a whole lot of really cool little feathers in the brush. And then if you put a little blop, you can get little blops on it. Those are actually scanned from I actually used my Raphael 8404 when I created this brush. I do have Winsor Newton Series 7s, but at the time creating this brush, I had just come from using the Raphael. So I had gotten really comfortable with the Raphael and wanted to make a brush very, very similar to what I was comfortable using. So this is going to be the brush that I'm going to use. And again, this brush is absolutely free. And I like this brush for several things. For one, I like it because it's got a really soft kind of feel. The stabilization on this brush isn't quite as high as a crow quill, so which means you can get a bit of a shaky line on this. You can lower the stabilization. It's customizable. This brush you can customize to your needs, to the type of line work that you're doing. And it's I'm not going to show it in this live stream how to customize it, but I do show that in my digital inking kit that is part of the video tutorials. I show you how to customize the brush to fit your needs and how you can change it up. You can change up the pen pressure. You can change up the type of thin or thick you'll get. You can change the brush size and all kinds of things to the brush, the stiffness, the stabilization, all kinds of things that go into a digital brush. But that is all in part of the kit. That information will also be in the penciling kit. I'm still filming that video. So I want to create really nice soft strokes and brushes. And I like it whenever I do grass. I like to get kind of a random brush line where I get some thicks, I get some thins in there. Right here, I just threw those little lines, and those are just going to make like little grass blades. And they're really great because with the same brush, I can get through these lines really fast, because comic book art is commercial art. It is drawn and set on a schedule for print. That's what's so important in comic books. I'm creating my own book, and I created my first book ever, Dragon Rage, first book I had ever drawn, first book I had ever crowdfunded, and I've learned a lot. I did the book in 2020. I had the book ready to go before my campaign, and it went very, very smoothly, went very well. I also had other people running the campaign for me, helping me out. I had a team working with me, and they helped tremendously. And then in 2022, I think, 2022, at the late 2022, beginning of 2023, I wanted to then redo that book, bring that book back out, improve the story. And I started with only 4 pages. And Murphy's Law, if anything that could go wrong would go wrong. Everything went wrong in that time. The economy, paper costs went up, computer chips, things, trying to get, electronics and things done. My printer decided they were going to upgrade their warehouse. They moved their warehouse. They took 2.5 months to get my books done. Everything could go on. I got sick. Everything that could happened during that time. So it was a big life lesson for me, quite a bit. And so I want to show everybody how devoted I am to this, how I want people to have a good quality book. And I enjoy making comics. This is something that I love. I'm here for the passion. I love this. I would be doing it for free. Unfortunately, I can't. I mean, I do have to pay bills. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to charge for my books. It does cost a lot of money to print them. So what I've decided is I want to get my book done as close to finish before I even begin my crowdfunding. Before I even go to the backer and ask them for their money to help get it printed, I want to get as much done as possible. And I want to be able to work comfortably. So that's why I've created these brushes. I've created auto actions. I've created all these type of templates. I have all kinds of setup to help streamline that so that I'm not wasting any time. You know, I'm getting every moment is valuable, and I have a set deadline I've made for myself, and everything that can help, which will be as simple as the type of brush. I need to be able to ink as much with just one brush. So that's why this brush is the one that I gave away for free, even though it's probably the brush that everybody really wants to go in and get. Everybody really wants to get this Kolinsky Sable because there isn't anything out there right now for Clip Studio that comes near this brush. And those of you that are inking traditionally, when they go digital, they all agree. I've got professionals, my peers, very, very top name inkers that also play around. Either they play around in Clip Studio, they don't use it in their professional work, or they're converting over, and they all have raved about the way the brush feels. So I know that it's not just in my head, you know, it actually feels like the Kolinsky Sable. So this is a book that I'm working on called Darklanders. It is a Western horror story. It's a Western horror fantasy, and it's really neat, interesting characters. Does have a little bit of supernatural in it. It does have characters in it like vampires, werewolves, creatures of the night. There's gypsies. There is witch doctors, shaman, all kinds of neat characters in this book. So you guys, there's definitely stuff you'll find really fascinating. There's cowboys, gunslingers. There's some really cool Native American warriors. All kinds of things in this book. Now, I want to make it visually stimulating, like we all do. We all want our artwork to be, and I'm sure you do, you want your work to be visually appealing, visually stimulating. You want your reader, whoever's viewing your work, you want them to be able to look at your work long after they've read the panel. You want them to be able to go back after they've read the comic book, because this is primarily focused on comics, but you could use it for other things. But since my focus is for comic books, after they've read your book, you want them to be able to go back and just kind of stare at the artwork for a little while and look at the line work and to see more in the work so that they get more for their dollar. They also get inspiration. You can inspire your readers, fans of your work. And I like to get really interesting line work. So all my brushes, to me, have to be able to give me really nice line work. Not just fancy line work. I don't need fancy. I need the proper and correct line work to be able to emphasize form, shape, textures. There's a lot that goes into the art of inking a comic, inking artwork. It's not just fancy lines for the sake of putting out a bunch of fancy lines. I am trying to place them in a unique way that's different than any other artist, but in a way that also still emphasizes like the texture, the mood, the form, the shape, things like that. But I also want to do it in a way that's interesting, that will separate me from other artists, and that hopefully fans of my work will, or readers of my books, will ask the question of, there's just something different about Jimmy's work. What is it? You know, and that's, to me, that is the greatest compliment when somebody just says, you know, your work is really fascinating. They may not know why, but they see the extra time that I put into it. You know, there are a lot of books out there that people are crowdfunding today. You know, it's like a gold rush. Every creator now is going, oh my God, I want to make the $1 million campaign. I want to put my book out there and make tons of money, because it has happened for a few people. Lightning has struck, it's a big gold rush. Everybody's coming down, hoping for that bonanza, to find that big, big amount of gold. And the truth is, it's very rare, very, very rare. But I do want people to be able to see the difference between my book and other books out there. I want them to see that, there is love and care in this. There's inspiration. It's created. This book is made by a creator and an artist who truly, truly enjoys what he is doing. And this is really all it is. I'm here to make good comic books. Sure. I have talked politics. I can talk politics at times. I can talk religion. I am spiritual. I am a Christian. And I can get in those conversations, but my books aren't political. My books aren't here to condemn anybody for their beliefs or anything like that. I'm not here to do any of that. I'm not here to shame you for your politics or to condemn anybody for their religion or beliefs. I'm here to make a good comic book, a comic book that you can enjoy, and a comic book that with heroes, a comic book that can inspire, regardless of your upbringing or background. I want people to be able to find inspiration and heroes, not a soapbox. That's not what my comics are for. So my books are always going to be, just something I enjoy. I love doing this, and I want to make the best tools that I can to help me work faster and produce the best quality work that I can in my books. I want my books to stand out. And if you feel the same, you want your books to stand out, and I'm sure you do. I'm sure you guys out there all want your books to stand out. Then having good, proper tools is the start. Dominic says, hi, this is Dominic from Nigeria. Big fan of your work. Can the brushes be uploaded on Clip Studio for the iPad? Yes, you can use these brushes on Clip Studio for the iPad as well. I don't have an iPad, and I don't have Clip Studio on an iPad. The reason that I know is many of the people that have downloaded my brush, that has been their question. Their question is, I only have it Clip Studio on the iPad. Can we use it? I didn't know at the beginning because I created them on a Mac, specifically for my Mac and for Clip Studio, with my Wacom Cintiq in mind. So I didn't know how they would work on the iPad. But to answer your question, yes, and many people are using them on the iPad. So it's been confirmed you can use them on the iPad. You can get the free brush. There's the free one. Click the link in the description of the video, and it'll take you to my Gumroad, and then there is the free brush. It's the Kolinsky sable. You also get templates. You get some artwork that I have inked. You get to see my file of how I set up my inks, so you can work within my template. So that way, you're working within a template that has been set up by a working professional. So I'm not going to lead you astray or teach you bad habits. Well, I mean, not saying that that what I do is the only way to do it, but what I'm doing has been used in my professional work, meaning that companies have paid me for my work and have all been satisfied. So it's working. It works. For a professional, it's a pretty good start, I think. All right, so here goes this brush. I'm gonna just talk to you guys a little more about this brush. And hi, by the way, from Nigeria. That is incredible. That is awesome. One of my doctors is Nigerian. And he's got this great accent. He's a super great doctor. Such a great doctor, and I'm very, very fortunate to have him. And he's from Nigeria, and he and his family are from there. And I'm just super excited to have that doctor. And so that's so cool, man. You're from Nigeria, and I just think you guys are amazing. So thank you for hanging out. Stealth X5 says, hell. All right. Thanks, Stealth, man. I appreciate you popping in, man. That's so awesome. All right, so I'm going to go over this brush a little bit and just kind of show you guys some line work. So you've watched me kind of go through, create, and work on fur, work on this fur texture. So I'm zoomed in really, really close, but the picture itself is going to be pretty far back, so I can't really put tiny, tiny little lines in the fur. I've got to kind of space them out a little bit, so there is a little bit of groups of white in the in between, in my textures. But I want to zoom in just so you guys, in case you guys are watching on mobile device or smaller screens, kind of show you guys this one brush. As I said, it can give you a really light line or a thick line, and we want to vary that up a little bit. And the really cool thing about this brush is that as you throw the line, you can also tilt. You can tilt as well, depending on the type of line that you want to get. So what I recommend is to really play with this brush. Get out there, play with this brush, and don't. The way I have it set up is that I have my pins set up for pin pressure. I do not set the pin pressure with my Wacom. My Wacom pin pressure and Clip Studio and all that pin pressure is set to 0. Each one of my brushes have their own pin pressure. So if you have pin pressure on your Wacom stylus, turn that off, put that at 0. Let the brush do the work. Use the brush. Each brush in my set have their own specific settings. So you want to let the brush do the work. So I turn off the pin pressure in my Wacom, and I've repeated that over and over several times. Just because I can't stress that enough. That's what's really gonna where you can really maximize and get the most benefit from the brushes, is to just let the brushes do the work. You don't need to add any settings on top of it. So then play with it. Play with the brush. So you can throw your line away from you if you like to push or pull your line. How you end the line at the end with the weight, you can see that there's a tiny little kind of a little angle to the arch. That's based on the tip of the brush. There's a specific shape that I put on the tip of the brush to be able to get these type of line work. So that's in the way that I designed the brush. So you can blob. You can just put your pin down, do little blobs, get cool little blob shapes. We can get really cool little feathering lines with it. So you just kind of play with the brush, just throw a bunch of random lines. It's digital, so you can just delete it. It's better than an Etch-a-Sketch. You don't have to shake anything up. You just undo it, right? Just delete it, whatever you've done. And really just get used to working with the brush. And the more and more comfortable you get with it, the more that you will develop your hand-eye coordination, the more that you will learn and develop your eye for line work. Line work is really key in how your rendering appears, because we design comic books here in the West. Sorry, I threw it down a big line there. I wasn't paying attention here. We make comic books primarily with using line work, meaning a series of lines. We don't do graphite shading, or we don't use ink wash quite as much. We mostly just do lines, and a series of lines, and how you group them together. You can study guys like illustrators like Franklin Booth. He did a lot of great series of lines using line work to create his illustrations. We also, in comic books, we had Alfredo Alacala. He was fantastic artist. You find him in magazines like back in the 80s, from Vampirella to Savage Sword Conan. His line work over John Buscema was incredible. There's a lot of modern artists today, like Mark Silvestri, trying to bring that style back, kind of using that technique in their work today. And Mark Silvestri used that in Batman Joker Deadly Duel that came out through DC Comics. And he did a really amazing job. But I'd say, you know, Mark Especially's fantastic artist, one of my favorite artists, but yet it still is lacking something. It didn't have the type of control that Alfredo Alcala has in his work. So I'd say go to the source if you like that Mark Silvestri look. Stealth X5, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it, man. For $2, he says, hello. Man, I appreciate that. You popping in, showing support. Your support is really greatly appreciated. Stealth X5 actually owns some of my traditional work that I did with a quill and a brush. And I was very proud of that work. It was, I always give my best. Whenever I'm commissioned, I'll give my best. But that one came out really well. I almost didn't want to let it go. I was going, oh man, I wish I had done this for myself, you know. But when it's for someone else, I think I put more care into it because, you know, I don't know if I'm a people pleaser, but I always want it to be my best work when somebody's paying for it, you know. And so I really appreciate that. And he owns a really cool. He had me draw the Flash, and I had never drawn the Flash before, and it was fun. You know, for the first time, trying to figure out how to draw this character and how this character moves. So I think if I were to draw the Flash again, I think I would do better each and every time. Stealth X5 says, it's a good piece. Man, thank you. I really appreciate that. That is so nice. He says, hope you get more commissions. Yeah, thank you. I'm not really pushing it too much, commissions, just simply because I'm trying to concentrate on my book and I'm making my traditional work very scarce. So for those of you out there that do get me to commission something, traditionally, know that there aren't going to be very many out there. I don't do that every day, so there isn't going to be very many traditional out there. But so I have turned down a few, but right now they are open. I am accepting commissions. I'm just not pushing it too much right now, just because I don't want to turn work down. Just because I'm really trying to focus on this this book that you're watching me ink right here. So here are little hairs that we're doing, and I can actually do. I'm going to do more than just fur. So this is a really good brush for fur, and we're going to switch over and see what else we can use it for. Brian Dragon says, learn so much from your digital inking course. Thank you, sir. Love the digital pens. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That means a whole lot to me. Because when I created them, they were primarily created they were created for myself. And I thought, I would then try to share what was going through my mind as I was working on that, as I put down lines. Oh, I thought I had some hair left here. Well, there's only a little bit of hair on the side of this character. We can throw down, hair is really good. This brush is really great for when you have hair, because then you can just kind of wisp these little lines there to kind of just show that there's some hair on the side. And I'm going to increase my brush size. I'm going to go to 60 pixels. I'm going to get rid of that last set. I just kind of want it. There we go. And so zooming in, you can kind of see that's what the lines look like in there. And if you, for here, on instance, I go, oh, I want to shave off just a little bit of that line. I went over too far. And you can do that. It's digital. So if you're a brush, like this, with a brush, if you're a brush inker, I want to create a wood texture. There's two different techniques we can use. We can either lasso fill the area and cut in shapes of wood into the amounts of into the black. We can then cut out these, into the negative space and cut out the grain. Why was I stuttering there? Wood grain. The grain and the wood is what I was trying to decide on. Which one was I going to say? Was it going to be the wood grain or grain of the wood? So the grain of the wood is what I was trying to say. Now, the way I'm going to ink this is I want to get some, oh wait, okay, I'm in the right brush. I want to make sure I'm in the right brush. I like this to be able to control where the lines group together just a little more. And I want this bounce in my line. I want this little wavy bounce and be able to then put little blobs. That's the really great shape of the wood texture, the grain that's in the wood. This is an old weathered piece of wood board that someone has made into a cross, and they are using it as a what do you call that? A headpiece for, what do you call that? Like a tombstone. Well, we'll just say they're using it as a tombstone. It's a wooden grave head. Man, that word is on the tip of my tongue. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys are smart, and you guys always help me along there when I'm trying to think here. Sometimes, as I'm drawing, it's a little harder sometimes to. Grave marker. See, you guys are amazing. See, what would I do without you guys? Grave marker. Thank you, Tank Fred. I appreciate that. As a purchaser of Jimmy's brushes, wait, free? Yeah. So you do get the brush for free if you want. Just go over and go to my Gumroad description in the video, and you guys get free stuff. I like to give away free stuff. Try to give away as much free stuff as I can. I'm also going to give away another brush for free. I'm going to include in this set. So if you've already gone through and downloaded this brush, don't worry, no need to worry. I'm going to put this new brush that I've created in everything that I have. Either if you've purchased brushes, you can just log back in, and you can re-download it. I'm going to put it in, I'm going to put a new brush, may not be the same brush that people get when they're purchasing, but I want to give you guys another free brush. So I'm trying to decide on the brush that I'm going to put in here. But if you've already downloaded this set right here free, no need to worry. You'll be notified. I'll send out an email update, and just come back, and you just go back in to where you downloaded, select the new brush, and just download the new brush if you want, or you can download the whole set again. It's up to you. These things are up there, and the free set, I don't have any plans to remove the free set, so no need to worry. If you're at work right now and you're watching, don't worry. It's not a limited deal. They've been up there since 2018, I think, something like that. No, when did I create brushes? 2020, maybe, I think. Somewhere around there. Well, something like that. Anyway, point is, they will be there for you. It's absolutely free. So that's the reason why you want to make sure when you download these brushes, you are using an email address that you're actually going to have access to. You don't want to put in a fake email, because the people there's been a few people that thought, oh, I'll outsmart it, I'll get the free brush, and I don't want any junk mail, so I'm going to put in a fake email. And then, unfortunately, whenever I give away more free stuff or updates, they don't get it. They don't get access to it because they are unaware, because they're not getting the emails. Or when I go, hey, I'm going to show a live stream video, I'm going to show you guys how to do this or how to do that, and you guys can view it for free. Things like that. It only goes through that newsletter. So you want to put in a good, proper email for you. For the sake for you. You want to make sure. Otherwise, you're cheating yourself out of free stuff. More free stuff. So. But it's up to you. You guys You know, don't worry, I don't spam. You don't have to worry about, I don't email that often. I think I send out maybe 4 emails a year, you know, maybe even less than that. So let's see here. Malembird says, out of curiosity, do they work so much different than the base brushes, or can you get something similar with them? New to Clip Studio Paint, so I don't know much about it. Yeah, these brushes are nothing like Clip Studio Paint. I purchased Clip Studio Paint because I wanted to go digital. I was a working professional comic book inker. At the time, I was working on Avengers for Marvel. I was inking Avengers, and I was inking it traditionally. And the deadline for that book was getting tighter and tighter because the penciler was. I don't want to throw anybody on the bus, but wasn't making the deadline at that time for whatever reason. So it meant they tightened up the deadline for us, the inkers. They brought on me to help get the book done. They split the inking chores between me and another inker so that we could get the book caught up. And they also did the same thing with the colorist. They had several colorists on there to try to speed things up. If I remember correctly, I think there was several colorists, but I wanted to speed up, go faster. And so I got interested in digital. When I went digital, I got Clip Studio Paint because it's designed for the creation of manga. And I thought, wow, that's got to be, you know, it's got to be very easy to use for comic books. Unfortunately, all these brushes in Clip Studio Paint are designed, all the standard brushes are designed for manga. And that's a different type of line work. G pens are not like crow quills. They are not. We get a lot of these inkers that say, "Oh," are these artists that go, "Oh, I use a G pen. I use this Japanese G pen." If you've been inking for a long time, you know, if you get professionals out there like Scott Williams or myself or Sandra Hope, or you know, you get somebody out there who's been inking comic books, you know, for a very long time, you can give me a crow quill, blindfold me, right? Give me a G pen. Just by feeling alone, not even seeing the type of line it's going to give you, just by the feel of the pen itself, I can tell you which is which. They're completely different. They have different feels to it. A lot of artists have been okay with it. They're okay with the type of line they get. That's totally up to you. It's artist preference. Not saying if you use a G pen that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that they are different. So when I was inking digital, you know, why would digital be any different? So when I started inking in Clip Studio Paint, I could not get the line work that I was trying to achieve. I could not recreate the line of a crow quill. So I created my own crow quill, and this is the crow quill right here. So with my crow quill, I want to create lines that are going to go right, you know, they're going to feather really nicely and have a really nice transition type of line. And I want that feel of my crow quill. Actually, I'll do the line up here. So let's say I want to do really neat, fancy type lines. To the untrained eye, that's zoomed in quite a bit. So you can't really, I should find something bigger. Let's move on to another spot that's bigger, because I'm zoomed in so much and tiny. All right, here on his boot. Let's just do this boot part. So a lot of people, when they're new, they're just, only thing they're looking for in a pen is they just want this line. They want it thin to thick. And they have no idea that that isn't the only thing a crow quill will give you. You know, they just look at that and go, okay, that's it. That's a great pen. I'm going to use it. I want to go thin and thick, because they don't know how to do that with a traditional crow quill. It does take time to learn to master and how to throw your line like that. So, you know, crow quills, you need them to be able to do tick lines. You need them to be able to do diamonds like this, where you kind of get this really nice little diamond shape in there. You want to be able to get little angular lines, and you want that smooth line, that same smooth line. So you need to have a crow quill will give you a wide variety of lines. If you've ever inked with a crow quill, you know what I'm talking about when you get the little blob, when you can blob little lines down depending on the size of your your crow quill. You can put little blob lines down, tick lines. Those are very, very important. You could do the dumbbell like this, thick, thin in the middle, and thick at the end. You get those little dumbbell kind of lines. It's a wide variety of different type of lines that a master of the crow quill, somebody who's been using the crow quill long enough, understands what I'm describing. But I mean, being new, not in any way trying to embarrass you, or you've asked a very good question, really good question. So these brushes in the simple form, yes, these brushes are completely different. Or your question was, are these similar? Are they different? Yes, they're very, very different, because I am trying to achieve the type of line that I would get from a traditional crow quill. And nothing inside Clip Studio Paint, and no one that created brushes could, there were a lot of people that would create a brush and they would say, it would say crow quill for or dip pen for manga, manga Studio 5, or for Clip Studio Paint or whatever. And I'd go and I'd download it, and it was a decent brush, but it was created by an artist who had never used a crow quill or could not use a crow quill. So they created a digital brush to be able to ink their work in a way that they thought a crow quill worked. What sets my brush apart is that it is a crow quill that is created by a professional inker for inking comic books. I designed the brush for myself. I didn't design it to sell it. I didn't design. I'm not in the business to sell brushes. I'm not making brushes to just try to keep out a new brush every year or a new set. I'm making things that I use in my everyday workflow, and I use it to get my comic books out, to help me produce quality line work so that my books look different than anyone else. And people have asked me, how do you get that type of lines? How do you do this in Clip Studio? And I said, well, for one, I'm using my own brushes. And so people kept asking for that brush to the point that I gave in. And not all my brushes are for sale. I do have some that are free. So you guys, like I said, I'd like to try to give away as much as I can for free, but unfortunately, it takes time building brushes. So it'd be nice to make a little bit back from that, if I can. That goes into whatever I make for my Gumroad. I put back into making videos for my YouTube. I make more tutorial videos so I can put tutorial videos on the Gumroad. I buy art supplies with it. So, I still do traditional work, and traditional work is really expensive. So I try to make the brushes and everything as cheap as possible for you guys. So the crow quill here gives me these type of angular type of lines that, if you can see the difference between if I were to ink it with my Kolinsky sable. Like Kolinsky sable would give me a much smoother line. I like my Kolinsky sable to be able to do like little shines like this in the shoe. This is me really zoomed in, where I wouldn't recommend inking zoomed in this far, but I want to show you guys, to a professional out there, you can see the difference in those lines. These others are angular, sharper. These are softer, bouncier lines. When you're just starting out, don't worry, you will develop your eye for line work. You will see the difference in line work. You'll be able to tell right away between the lines, and through experience, you will learn when and where to use these lines. A smooth, bouncy line comes from a brush, and you'll learn where to use that, where you want to use a bouncy, smoother line. Hair, grass, organic, things like that. You want to use the brush. You can really ink a brush everywhere if you wanted to. But, the crow quill, if you want that angular type of look, then you want it on sharper areas that are a little more angular. And you kind of pick and choose where, and you learn that over time. Unfortunately, I can't make a brush that's just going to automatically teach you line work Unfortunately, you won't learn it from just one live stream. I'm going to try to make a course for you guys, but know that it took me 30 years to really get to the level where I'm at. And I am trying to create as many shortcuts for you guys as I can, but unfortunately, there is no shortcut. Hard work has to be done. Trial and error has to be done. You have to learn, and by simply making mistakes. And you're going to produce line work that doesn't work, or line work that just doesn't look good. You have to go through that. You have to put down bad line work in order to recognize and realize what doesn't work, so that you take away. You start with all these things. You have to take away the things that do not work to keep and remain with that will work for you. And then that's how you've streamlined your work and experience, and you've developed your eye. So I'm going to try to share with you guys and make it as clear and simple as possible in a series of videos on inking, digital and traditional. And I point over here because my traditional desk is next to me. But I do ink traditionally as well. And I want to be able to make as many videos as I can to try to help speed things up for you. There are some things that I can show you that you can watch me do, and save you the time of trying to figure that out on your own. Where I can try to answer as many questions and just trying to get you guys started. So I do want to make a video for that. And try to do that. Unfortunately, in a live stream, there isn't enough time to make you a fantastic inker. You just are a fantastic artist. It doesn't happen. The reason that there are fantastic artists out there right now, and you're looking at it going, how do they do that? Well, because they have put in 10,000 hours. There's no way around that. There's no pill. There's no upgrade, no download. There isn't a program. There isn't anything out there like that. It's just going to make you instantly a fantastic artist. You have got to put in the time, the work. That's the only way to do it. Other than that, I can share stuff as much, like I said, my experience much. Quink says, just wanted to pop in and say fantastic work. Just discovered your videos on Clip Studio Paint, and will certainly be watching more of your videos on the techniques. Yeah, there's a lot right now. They're live streams, so you have to kind of go through the live streams, because I try to demonstrate a work, and I try to articulate what my process is, what is going through my brain, because I say this many times. I say this every stream I do. We draw with our brains. We do not draw with our hands. Our hand is a printer. This is where all the creativity works. It all works on the right side of the brain. We are processing all this information. We are visualizing it. Then our hand transfers that information onto the screen. So hand-eye coordination is very important. You draw with your imagination, you draw with your mind. And I got stuck there. Oh, so I try to articulate. I try to explain what is going on up here as you guys watch my hand move, as you're watching on the screen, what is happening on the screen. So there's a lot of, and then I also try in my live stream to interact with you guys. You guys ask questions. I try to stop and interact and answer as many questions as I can, because I think that's where it's most beneficial, that it's interactive. You guys can stop and ask me a quick question, and I could stop and actually answer it directly to you. So I think that's when it's really beneficial. But when you're going back, rewatching, you kind of have to thumb through it, skip through some parts to find the things where I'm doing the demonstrations to kind of show the information. And hopefully you'll find things that are, of value to you that you can use in your own work. But no need to worry. I do plan on clipping some of it, shorten it down to just the meat of things. I do plan on doing edited videos, meaning where if I do a video that's edited down, I can just get to the nitty-gritty, straight to the point. I don't have to stop, answer questions. I don't have to do introductions, things like that happen in the live stream. I was testing out right here. I want to see if I want to put different line weights to kind of show a different highlight right here. So when I zoom out, I was just thinking I wanted a little more shape in her hair, and to be able to get that in there. Tank Ferris says, speaking of work, I'm back to it. That is great. That is good news, man. Don't stop drawing. What happens when you stop drawing, it's like a muscle. It becomes unconditioned and it will weaken. So you have to stay conditioned. If you guys are ever watching my videos and you're wondering, some of my past videos and you watch where we did the wolf, where I just drew a wolf straight out of no reference, just out of imagination. I drew the wolf, and you guys could watch that. I think that was last stream. And if you're wondering, well, how do I do that? Well, it isn't that I've got some kind of magic, or it isn't that, like, oh, wow, I'm just levels above anybody else. It's that I'm conditioned. So if you ever were to put on some sneakers and you were to go jogging with somebody who runs every day, you're going to go, oh my God, how do you guys do that? How are you running? And I'm tired after 4 steps. It's because you aren't conditioned yet. Your body's not built. Your body's built for it. Your body's a great machine. And, art is a skill. You can do art even better than what I'm doing. You could, I got weaknesses in my work. There are areas where I struggle in my work. There are things that in my work where I realize where there are flaws in my work. There are weak areas. And the fact that I'm aware of it is how I'm able to improve it. Rather than getting discouraged going, man, I draw faces really wonky. I hate drawing faces. Well, then you should practice more. Draw faces. Go back to the basics. Learn to draw faces again and strengthen that area, condition it. So if you're not a runner, you're not used to running, get out there, jog, run, and over time, yes, it will be stressful. Yes, it will be struggle, like anything else that you do. For the first time, then eventually you build the muscle, you get conditioned for it. So if you draw every day, you will find that you have less creative block. You will have less fear. You'll be much more comfortable in your work. And the only way to do that, stay conditioned. Draw, draw, draw. And so the Art and Times of Jay Ryan says, I use conditioner to stay in condition. And that's how you got, that what happens is hair, we have natural oils in hair. And detergents will then get rid of those natural oils too. They're there to get rid of the dirt. Well, dirt gets stuck to oil. So you got to get rid of that oil too. Then no oil dries your hair. Conditioning your hair brings back the oils back in your hair. But by not using so much detergent in your hair, you're not supposed to really wash your hair every day. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that. I thought, oh, you're dirty, you're filthy if you don't wash your hair every day. You're not supposed to. Your hair is healthier with natural oils in it. When the hair builds up with dirt, then you use the detergents, then you clean them. If you wash more frequently, then you need conditioning with that proper care. So same thing with art. When it comes to artwork, we're sitting down. We are sitting for hours and many, many different things that you need to make sure when you're sitting down for hours, you are comfortable. You need to be in a nice, comfortable posture area so that you don't ache and hurt after you're drawing and then you don't want to draw. You need to stay in that, stay conditioned for it. So make sure a good posture, good area, well lit. If you're drawing natural, nice natural light, draw by a window. If you're drawing traditionally, if you are drawing digital, then make sure you have the right brightness on your screens. Your eyes are all very important to us. There's a lot more that will go into art than just, we get hyper focused on, I just want to draw, cool poses and Wolverine with claws and ripping people. And I want big shadows and muscles and we forget about all the other things that we need to have around us. We need to have an area as well where we are not distracted, an area where we can just zone into the art and not have, anything in the background. When I first started, my kids were young. My kids are grown now. They're grown ass kids. And I love them very much. And so they were little, they were constantly needing things, and they were always, asking for something. Can I have juice? Can you turn this channel for the TV? Can you, all kinds of, kid stuff, kids do. And I got distracted. So I set a schedule with their mom at the time, my wife at that time. I have a new wife. And I should just clarify. I upgraded. The last one was Elise. No, I'm just kidding. She's a great woman. She was the mother of my kids, amazing woman. But we were kids, so fortunately that marriage didn't work out. But anyway, at that time, like I said, she was great at the time. We made an arrangement where I'd go, okay, I'm going to draw from this time to this time because I've got to get this. I was inking actually, and I was inking Ghostbusters, I think, at the time. And I said, I've got to get these pages done for Ghostbusters. So I'm going to ink from this time to this time. So she was great. She would handle anything that happened with the kids during that time. So I had to condition my family into a routine to get used to the fact that this is something that I want to do professionally, that even if you aren't making money yet, you got to say, I have to devote this amount of time to it. Treat it like a job. Get your family conditioned because it will take them time to get used to. Don't disturb dad or brother or whoever you are, uncle, whatever your relation you are to them. You have to condition your people around you in your household to understand that you are in a point where you have to get in a creative zone and you are working. Even if you aren't making money yet, you just ask them politely and nicely and say, this is something that I really want to do. In order for me to get to the point where I could do this professionally, I need to devote time to it. So think of it as I'm at school and I'm learning to draw comic books. And so I had to condition my family to the point where they got used to it. And my kids grew up and very quickly learned that, okay, when dad's at the drafting table, see if mom's available. If mom's not available, is it an emergency? Okay, if it's an emergency, then by all means, get dad. And I would work that way. They got used to it and stuff. I had less distractions. Then I had my friends. They would call me up. I was younger, and they would be like, "Hey, man, we're heading down the court, a basketball court. We're heading down. We're gonna go shoot some hoops. Go on down. The whole squad's going. That's how we talk. Where basically it translates to, "Hey, Jimmy, want to come play basketball? Everybody's down at the park playing basketball. Come on, let's get in on a game." Going. And I loved it. I love basketball. I wanted to go. But I had to condition my friends and it was hard. I had to choose. And I'd have to say, well, I would like to, but I got this deadline. And I've never missed a deadline. And that was why people were always coming to me for inks. I didn't have any problem finding work as an inker from the time that I was an inker. When I was inking, I don't know, 2000. Now I started in 1994, all the way to 2007. Then I took a break and started up again in 2016. And people, I've always established myself as being reliable. So that's more advice than just, hey, look, here's a free brush. That's stuff that I don't know if other professionals talk about. I don't know if they do on their live stream, but I want to make this a resource where you guys can get information to use in your career, your freelance career, not just, hey, buy my brushes, that kind of thing. I want to try to give you guys the best. So here's another cover that I've done. I'm working on my book called Darklanders. It's a Western horror fantasy. And this book is a book that I'm going to crowdfund. And I want to make sure that I get this book. I want to get this book finished. Hopefully, I can have it all completely finished before I crowdfund. The goal is to have all the artwork done. Then I've got to spend time marketing the book so I can put off the coloring and lettering. So I want to try to have all the artwork done, pencils and inks, all the way done. So that way my book's not late. I can deliver my book on time. And I want people to know that the book's finished and they're going to receive a book. So unfortunately, I've learned from errors. I've learned from making mistakes. So I want to recover from those mistakes. I want to show people that I'm devoted and I'm serious, and I want to give people the best book possible. So this is a character that I've created for my book called Darklanders. This is a character named Willow. Willow is a Native American. Willow has lost her sight, but she's been given a gift from her ancestors, been given several gifts from her ancestors from the spirit world. She's been given the ability to use animals for her senses. So she can use hawks, wolves, she can use any animal to be able to see around her. She can hear, she can smell things that the animals in the environment smell. That's kind of tied into some of the, the Native American, which is, I am part Native American. My mother is indigenous. So I'm a quarter indigenous, which today, that's a lot. My mother's half Native American. my late mother, I should say. She just passed away a few days ago, and so to commemorate her or to remember her, I've put my mother stories my mother would tell me. I put her into a book, into comic books. My mother was a beautiful, beautiful woman. My dad would call her Pocahontas. She was a beautiful indigenous woman, and so people ask me, how is it that you're all my wives, even the mother of my children, I say all my wives, yeah, I've had a few, which I'm not proud of. Why have they all been out of your league? Why have they all been beautiful? Honestly, all I've ever known is beautiful women. My mother was very, very beautiful when she was young. I mean, all the way through till she was older. But when she's my mother, I don't go, oh, my mom's beautiful. But seeing pictures of my mom when she was younger, I go, oh my gosh, my mom was beautiful. So I was raised by a beautiful woman. I guess I just kind of, to me, that I don't know. I guess if that had anything to do with it, I don't know. Maybe it did. Maybe it does. I don't know. Either way, my mother being a big inspiration to me, and I put her in this book. I didn't name her. My mother's name isn't Willow, but my mother's name is in the book. But it's part of another character's story. And so Darklanders created a comic book. How I created this book is I took tragedies, I took just life experiences, and I put them in the book and created these characters and put them into larger than life situations. So I want to make my characters as interesting, as human as possible. They both have their strengths, their weaknesses in here. And this is just one of those characters. Her name is, like I said, Willow. She has a surname, a family name that's from my mother's, being indigenous and stuff. Her maiden name and stuff. So I kind of used some of that when I named this character in the last name, but you'll find that out later in the book. I can't release too much about my story yet because it's not out there. I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I want you guys to read it and just go, holy crap, Jimmy is very, very creative or very weird. Probably both. I'm a little bit of both. I'm really, creativity is a little, you can be a little weird with it. With creativity. Is it androgynous? Am I thinking androgynous? No, eccentric. You can be a bit eccentric when you're an artist and creator. It's how our brains work. So anyway, here's just some of the stuff that I used for the brush and my crow quills. You guys can see all the different type of line work and a much more finished wolf. Show you guys because I'm going to be ending the stream because I'm going to be getting to work. I have got a lot to do. The Art and Times of Jay Ryan. Did you remember to vote, Jimmy? I don't care who you voted for, just as long as you voted. Yeah. So voting was Jimmy doesn't vote or Jimmy didn't vote is a running joke in the community out here. Whether you're in CG or you're just in crowdfunding, it's kind of a running theme that we got going on. It started when I went on a live stream and was asked, "Did you go vote?" It was a local voting time at that one. It was, "Did you vote?" And I thought it would be funny to say, "Well, the line was too long. I left." Because I didn't want to share my politics because I come from a family, although my father and my family were all very conservative in our religion and we're very conservative in our politics. But here in Texas, it's assumed you're conservative because we all are. Texas is a red state. We are very big in our politics. We're so big in our politics that we really just don't even talk politics. Really, we're not like other states where you get these people that are just screaming out Trump, oh, America. Ah. We are just like we know we are, and that's it. Like we don't. So I come from that type of upbringing where we don't talk politics. So when I was asked, I thought I made a joke, divert it, but then it went the other way, where everybody was like, "I don't believe you," and I was like, "No, I voted. It was a local vote. Yeah, I vote for my local, as well, because the things that are happening here in my state of Texas is very, very important to me, and so just as important to me. So I voted, but I couldn't convince the person, and I didn't want to try. I thought I didn't really know him at that time. He didn't know me at that time, so he didn't know my sense of humor. I felt I don't know you, so I don't care if you do believe me or not, whatever. So I let it go, and it ran as a running joke. It was really funny, and I still laugh at it. I still joke with it. at it. And here's the other thing about my joke. This is another joke, but this is real. So when uh, Trump was running for re-election and Biden, that was the one year that I didn't. That was the year that I didn't vote for a presidential election. I didn't vote, and Biden won, right? And this time around, to answer your question, yes, I voted, and I know that this is going to deter people. People are going to be pissed off. You know, like I said, I mean, I'm Republican. I'm in Texas. My family's Republican. I mean, just my neighbors, everybody. We're almost. It's rare to find a liberal and Democrat. Well, maybe in Austin, Texas, they've turned that into Little California. But here in this year, I voted, and Trump wins, right? So honestly, I think, America, you guys, you owe me a big thank you. I'm the Republican good luck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. My family was joking with me because they all knew, like, they were all pissed at me that I didn't vote that year that when Biden won, and they were pretty upset with me. And my family's more the type, like, they don't draw it out. They just kind of give you that look. When we talk politics, whenever we did kind of talk politics, we don't really. I mean, we talk within the family, but we don't go asking other families, because I come from a very conservative Christian home where you respect other religions, you respect others' political beliefs. You don't go tell a stranger your political beliefs are stupid. Like, that's not how my father raised me. My father is an alpha male. He is a conservative Christian, and he loves God. He loves people, and so that's how we were raised. So I don't really talk politics a lot, but you can get me to talk politics if you ask. I try not to on this channel. But anyway, yeah, so I think I'm the good luck charm. I think, honestly, whatever side you were on, like Jay Ryan says, whatever side you're on, you should vote. You should vote. You live in this country. This is America. Do not take the freedom for America for granted. I have a father-in-law who came from he was an immigrant. He's now a U.S. citizen. He came from a country that had a dictator. My father came from a country that had a monarchy. So, they are the most patriotic people. They appreciate the freedom and what we have here in America. They are the most true red-blooded Americans that I know today. They are two people, my father and my father-in-law, two people that I'm so proud of. They remind me of how lucky we are to be in this country right here and how amazing America is. To keep it amazing and keep it this way, like this, you need to vote. Whatever side, whatever beliefs you're on, I'm not going to, I'm not here to get in political debates or to shame anybody, anything like that. You should go vote. For one thing, the Democratic Party had 247,000, something like that, of registered voters that did not vote. And, that makes a difference. That makes a difference. So, if that itself there doesn't tell you that how important your vote is, your voice is very important. So, everybody should go vote. I understand that there are some times, that one year that, like I said, when Biden got elected, that one year there were things going on in my personal life at the time during, early election day and the early polls and everything that, unfortunately, I was sick. I was going through, I was in a hospital bed and things like that. So I had other priorities on my mind and things like that. So my family wasn't that upset with me, but they still would kind of tease me about it. So that was why at that time I didn't. But anyway, let me get off the top of that, politics and everything like that. So just know, guys, that whenever we do that joke, I didn't realize how gullible that there are people out there that are very gullible. That I don't want to say gullible. That sounds mean. People out there that because you don't know me, out there, you don't know me personally, so you don't know whether it's true or not, right? So whenever there's a joke being made out there, it's really funny. I went onto Ethan's chat, and I said, I was just say hello on election day, and I had just gotten back from voting. Me and my dad and my wife, we had gone before her work, and we stood out there 3 hours in the rain. It started raining on us, but it was important to my dad that we continue as normal as possible. My mom had just passed the day before, 2 days before, or the day before my mom had passed, somewhere around there. And it's all a blur now. But we still wanted it. My dad still was important to him that we just still continue living as we were before. So we stood in the rain 3 hours. I just got back. I go into this chat and I said hello to people. All I said, hello, right? I just do my normal thing. I always say hola, right? Hola amigos, right? Which means hello friends in Spanish. I just said hello friends. And then people start like to riff on me, and I'm okay with that. I can go back and forth riffing, and just making jokes as long as you can take it. So if you try to crack a joke at me, know that I'm coming back with one, and I'm creative, I'm witty, so know I'm gonna come back, with a good one. So you got to be able to take it. And I know that there are people out there that have cracked on me. I come back at them, then they get all mad, so I just think, why, then you shouldn't be doing it if you can't take it. So they start cracking on me. They start going, "Oh, Jimmy's here. Jimmy voted Democrat. I bet Jimmy's Democrat." I didn't say anything. So I thought I'd run with the joke. I thought, okay, if you guys are cracking on me and calling me Democrat, I'm going to say something very cryptic, and let's see how they respond. I said, "Hey guys," and somebody asked, "Did you vote?" And because I know that's the running joke. Did you vote? And I go, "Yeah, I voted for Big D." And people went, "Oh my God, Jimmy's in here bragging about voting Democrat. Oh my God, Jimmy's, don't say that, all this stuff," right? They start going off on me. And I said, so I'm going to be honest with you guys, tell you guys, it's internet. I'm not ashamed of who I voted for, my political beliefs. I hope that you respect my beliefs, my political views as I do yours. If not, I mean, that's you, on you, not me. But I started to see people running with it and giving this response, which made me laugh more, which made the joke funnier, right? Kind of playing this like prank on people, see where they were going with it. So I thought, okay, there are some people that got the joke. Some people got the joke in the chat. Some of them were like, I get it, blah, blah, blah. Or, hey, that you shouldn't say it like that. That kind of sounds, like I'm not homophobic, but that sounds, and they were making different jokes. So some people got it. But I thought I'd clarify for those that didn't get it. I go, hey, I voted for Big D, Donald Trump. That's the D. He's tall. He's a tall man. He's a big man, And so I clarified. And even then, some people are like, no, they like, I just go, oh my God. So cracking jokes, I've learned, you got to be real careful with the jokes you make. I don't know why. I'm just going off here. I'm sorry. So sorry about that, guys. You guys are here for artwork. I'm just saying, I don't understand how we can argue with strangers. I don't understand we can hate somebody we've never met simply for their political views, their religious views, or a joke they've made. Let's not spend the energy on anything negative. Let's spend the energy on things like you're obviously here because you enjoy artwork. Let's focus on the art. Let's enjoy art. But you guys are welcome to ask questions, about, if you guys want to ask political questions, feel free. You guys want to ask about, Christianity. You want to talk Christianity. I love talking about, I'm a big believer in Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is who saved my life. Jesus is who healed me from cancer, from heart failure. He's brought me back literally from the dead several times. I have been near death, and I have literally, my heart had stopped. So, and God has brought me back from all that. And I mean, we can say it was doctors or whatever. No, I mean, who gave them that knowledge? Who gave us that type of technology? It was God. When the doctors had thrown their hands up and said to my family, "We're sorry. That's all we can do." It was God. It was Christ who brought me back from from death. And so I'm here today. I can now create comic books. I can share with you guys artwork. And this is why, guys, I have passion for you guys. I have passion for life. I love life. I love this craft. I love interacting with people. I think, many of us as comic artists are introverts. That's okay too. I'm not. I'm an extrovert. Know that. I will share with you guys. I'm not competitive. I will share with you guys anything I've learned. I'm pretty open and transparent with you guys, even things I probably shouldn't be, because some people take the information and try to turn it against me based on my religion. And I know that right now the mainstream comic books is run by liberal Democratic Party, right? Most of the people that I know, editors, most of the people that have hired me, given me work, are pretty much, they all voted for Harris, right? So I am going to just go out on a limb here and say I know that I, from this point on, by saying that I am conservative, probably not going to get any work from those people, simply just because of my politics, and not because of the fact that I should be getting work, because I'm devoted to the craft and I love drawing comics, and I'm reliable. I've got a pretty good level of talent. You know, I'm not the best artist out there, but I'm a good artist. And unfortunately, you know, that's just how it is in the mainstream comics. It's very political. You know, it's pretty sad. So I'm not going to worry about any of that. I'm going to focus on doing my own book, crowdfunding. I want to do my own book. I want to do book crowdfunding that's supported solely on backers. We don't have to worry about advertisers coming in with their ideology, with their message. They don't have to tell me what I can and can't put in there, or tell me that I have to add a particular character to appeal to a specific demographic when it doesn't aid the story. You know, I don't want to just throw in. I didn't just throw in a Native American character just because of that's the current movement right now. That's the current. You know, that's the demographic that's in the spotlight right now. I didn't do any of that. I created this because it was a tribute to my mother. It's an interesting character, and it's a character that actually is part of this story, part of the world in the Wild West. Well, indigenous people were here before European and Spanish, and Italians arrived here. So the Wild West, big history of America. There's nothing more American than the Wild West, and being able to tell a story about the Wild West, is something that I hope inspire people. And also there's, it's not historic, but hopefully it'll get people interested in the history of America, and want to find out more about the things that went on in the West, in the Old West, because that's America. That's the birth of America, and I just think it's an incredible, I don't know, it's a genre that I enjoy. I like it, and I hope that there are a lot of you guys out there that enjoy it. The Art and Times of Jay Ryan. Yeah, I have zero problem with different people, different beliefs, etc. Just don't force them on me or get upset for not thinking the same. I like when you used to be able to agree to disagree. Yeah, wasn't it amazing? Back in the day, I was gonna make this joke, but I don't know if the joke. I like to joke around, but I don't know if people are gonna get this joke. Here's a joke that I'm gonna say, but I'm saying that it's a joke now ahead of time, because the world's so serious right now that I feel like it's gonna ruin the joke. But I was just gonna get in this character. I like to do little bits, right? A little bit. I was gonna do this little bit right now on the stream where I'd say, yeah, united, like the way pornos united everybody, where back in the day you used to have to go out to theaters and meet others who were interested in the same thing you were, and you got to get perverts together in this theater, right? It united perverts together. Now with the internet, and it's free, and you do it in your privacy, in your dark little areas, and we're no longer united. Don't let what happened to pornography theaters happen to comic books. It's a stupid joke, right? Not everybody's gonna get it. It's gonna offend a lot of people out there, but hey, it made me laugh. It was funny. But anyway, so basically, like with comic books, this used to be such a small club for nerds that it united us whenever we came together. Even if we were DC or Marvel, it didn't matter. We'd get in our little debates, talking about different type of characters, where we'd go out there and talk about, whatever character, Superman, or we would say, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on the Marvel character guy. His name starts with the S. Oh my God, he was in Avengers comic book Dave Finch did called I'm drawing a blank. That's what happens when I'm drawing. My brain just I can't remember. So people have asked. Oh, that was another thing people teased me about. They were like, Clint Barton and whatever the Green Arrow's got. I have no interest in Green Arrow. I barely had any interest in Hawkeye. and they asked me that, and I was like, who? I was like, I don't know. I mean, I don't read those books anyway, but I mean, I knew who they were, but I just drew a blank, and I draw blanks a lot. That happens to me when I'm working in art. But if I'm focused on just like with you guys on a live stream, I can do it. But anyway, that joke, I mean, the thing was, it used to unite us as nerds. We used to be able to get together and be able to have those debates on who's faster, Flash or Quicksilver, things like that. Who was, who would win in this battle or that battle. We would talk comic books, and we were united in that. For some reason today, now we all want to fight, and we all want to pretend to be the alpha nerd. We all want to pretend we're leaving the age of information, but and we're entering the age of technology. But still, people want to pretend that they know everything when all they do is just go Google something or look on Wikipedia and then come back in their little chat room or go back in the thread and type in the answer and pretend to be the alpha nerd. Like, I know everything. I am the voice of authority when it comes to, this culture of this pop culture of nerdism, of collecting, comic books. No, and then we would shame those people and call them, we would say things like fake geek girl. It's like, no, we should welcome new people in. Sure, right now there's a pretty girl wearing a t-shirt that says Marvel. All she knows is the movie, but that's a start. It's a start. That is the gateway in to finding and discovering where did this stuff come from. You can always start and talk with them. Hey, that's a nice shirt. Do you know where that's from? And then they go, yeah, it's from this movie, blah, blah, blah. Did you know that started out as a comic book? No, I didn't really. It's a great way to talk to women instead of calling them great, geek girl. It's a good way to break the ice with her. She finds, she's comfortable with you and just start talking with her about a t-shirt. Maybe that's how I meet hot women. I don't know. Maybe, maybe my hot young wife was wearing a Marvel t-shirt and had no idea other than it was a movie. And maybe she was wearing, something, she was wearing a t-shirt, The Inhumans or something. And I go, oh, hey. She's like, oh, it's just a TV show. And I was like, oh, did you know it's more than a TV show? It started out as a comic book. Next thing you know, we're going to dinner. Next thing you know, we're married. And I've got this hot, beautiful woman that's half my age there next to me that I get to say that that's my wife, I am blessed, no, honestly, Anna had no idea about pop culture. Anna grew up cultured. Anna grew up, she knows who Michelangelo is. She knows who played classical music. She knew all of that stuff. She had no idea who the most modern pop star was. Now for the first time, she's out, when she was finally out of her parents' home, she discovered pop culture. She loves it. She loves music. She's like, oh my God, who is this Taylor Swift person? And who is all these, I don't know these other names that she says. And who is that? And she's discovering movies for the first time. She loved watching the Avengers. She loved watching Aliens with me. She watched The Crow with me for the first time. And she's discovering this world, and it's amazing. And I love that. I love that. So I wouldn't shame it. If I had called her a fake geek girl right away when she was just discovering this world, we wouldn't have this beautiful woman who live streams with me sometimes who's into this pop culture. We'd have less people. So we need to stop fighting. Stop condemning people. Stop trying to pretend that you're the alpha nerd. Stop trying to shame people to lift yourself up. Because in the Bible, I'm gonna get biblical here. You can mute it if you want. In the Bible, it says that you should not be focused on the splinter in your brother's eye. When you should be focused on the log in your own eye. We don't need to shame other people to lift ourselves up. That is not Christian. So somebody who is out there detracting and somebody who's out there trying to shame and talk about someone else's flaws on the internet and claims to be Christian, I'm sorry. I'm your brother in Christ. I would call them out on it and say, hey, that is not Christ-like. We shouldn't be doing that. We need to, we all have we all have flaws. We're born sinners. We've all made mistakes. Cancel culture is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. It's the most non-biblical thing, non-Christ-like thing ever. I don't want to get into that. You guys got me into politics. And here I am going off ranting on you guys. Sorry. I get into this stuff and I don't mean to. I try to just stick with the artwork. That's why I'm going to try to just do edited videos. I can edit stuff out like this. Cancel culture it's horrible. It's just, that's what I'll say about it. And, So let's enjoy comics, man. Let's there's good live streams out there. Aaron Lopresti is a good friend. I really look up to Aaron Lopresti. He's got a live stream that he does every day, which should be starting in about 2 to 3 hours from now. It's called Graybeards. So look up Graybeards on YouTube. These are just guys that love art, draw art, they get together, they bond over art, they laugh, they joke. I love the show. I love watching it. I want more shows like that. So I think, I'm going to create something like that. I think I'm going to do something. What if I brought on other inkers? Would you guys watch that? If I brought on my peers, my professional inkers, guys with experience, guys and girls with experience, and we all said, hey, today let's ink a Jack Kirby piece. And we all ink Jack Kirby. Hey, today let's ink a Jim Lee piece. And we all do it live for you guys. If you guys would be interested in that, let me know. You can put comments in this video if you want. And I'm thinking about starting that up, thinking about asking about it. I started thinking about that today, going, I want to make this a channel that isn't political, a channel that, you don't have to worry about, my religious belief. I mean, I will always share as much as I can, try to share, the gospel of Christ as much as I can, the word of God, if I can, but I'm not going to push it down anybody's throat or condemn anybody or if you're atheist, don't need to worry. I'm friends with an atheist. Brett Booth is a publicly, it's public knowledge. He's an atheist, and we're good friends. I enjoy talking with him, chatting with him, and he's been very nice to me. And he and I, we don't go at each other as like, hey, you should believe in God, and he should be going, you're stupid for believing that there's this entity out there, this deity, and he doesn't do any of that. We don't do any of that. We're still able to be friends. So it's possible, to still be very amicable and respectful to people. I'll stop. I gotta stop. My sketchbook 340 says, "What's up, Jimmy and chat?" Yeah. And my sketchbook 340 says gravestone or headstone. Oh, you might be behind on the video because you're watching the live stream. It depends on YouTube will do that. Some people you're watching it live minute for minute. Others come in and they're trailing behind. So that was what I was trying to decide earlier on what this was called when I was inking this. Made of wood. It is called a headstone. That was the word. That was the word I was trying to come up with. Headstone. That was the one. Gravestone. Yeah, I know. I think I said gravestone in there, but headstone. So I like using the Kolinsky sable brush to kind of put in. I'm going to put little spaces between because I want to push that bit of wood. I want it to have texture like this one, but I can't put that much texture into it. So you can kind of see, if I were to really zoom in, how much white is in there. Because we're not going to be, let me undo that other line. We're not going to be zoomed in that close. It's really going to be somewhere around there. So when I ink my lines, I want to put spaces in between, because when we shrink it down, in this case, I'm inking at 100%, but it'll be shrunk down to 300 DPI. I'm inking at 600 DPI. So when it's shrunk down, basically 67%, roughly. In my case, it's 50%. It's going to be the lines will get closer together, and as the lines get closer together, there's less white space in between. So it will begin to darken. The lines can muddy up a little bit. So you want to make sure you've added just the right amount of white space in between in there. So that's why when you zoom in, you see that there's a lot more white space in there. For that is so that it adds the illusion of texture, and it also pushes the image back a little bit. It's smaller. It's not as big as the image that's in the foreground. Doesn't have as much line work in it. It has less lines, and I could have just put, and it wouldn't be as interesting if I were to just put a cross back there in solid black. It wouldn't look quite as interesting. Now, the one thing that you can do is in the, as you can see, I did a small cross back there. I should have done the same size cross. You would see because I did a small cross and I did a solid black, that's the technique you want to use to push it even further back. But if we were to just do that same thing, right, like this, at the same size, and we compare the two, the one that's much more interesting is the one that has a little bit of white in between the lines. It just seems like there's more detail. It seems like there's more texture. There's a little more energy in the line work. So you just pick and choose. It's a personal preference, but there is a skill and technique when inking in a line work that you can use in your work to help add more depth, energy, more interest, into your line work, your art as a whole. There's different techniques, but it's also personal preference as well. It also comes down to how much time do you have to to actually be able to put in this amount of detail. Right now in the mainstream cannot support this level of detail right now. And what I mean by that is because right now artists out there, the comic book industry isn't making the kind of money. They aren't spending the same kind of money they used to on artists. So they are starting to outsource. They are starting to look to foreign countries to hire artists at a much lower rate. Those artists that are out there, they can afford to work at a lower rate. The cost of living is lower wherever they are. The dollar is stronger in their country, so they're able to support themselves on that. Here, for those of us in America, and even those out there in foreign countries, a lot of these artists really want to work as fast as they can to make. The more faster they can work, the more money you can make, right? Because it takes a long time to produce a single page to a comic book that a reader will flip through in 2 seconds. And it takes us 20 hours to get it done, where the reader flips through it in just 2 seconds. So the more work you can produce, the more money you can make. Now, the advantage that I have here is I'm a retiree. I'm medically retired here. So I don't have to be in that grind of that hustle. I don't need as much. So I don't have to do a monthly book and be whipping out pages and pages over and over, and then trying to take on commissions and trying to go to conventions and do convention sketches and trying to get it all done so that, that I can take on all this extra work to allocate my income in order to be able to stay afloat and be able to, support myself and family. Thankfully, I am afloat now. And of course, I just need a little bit to make a little bit monthly to be able to, stay afloat. So what I can do for me, and I'm just sharing a little bit about my personal situation with you guys, because maybe it'll help clarify things a little more, is if you're in the same situation, and what will separate crowdfunding is that I have the luxury of taking the time, putting in a lot more work into this to make it look much more visually stimulating, much more visually appealing. I can redraw stuff. I've got that luxury. I've got that time. There's no deadline on this yet, although I've given myself a personal deadline because I want to get this book done, have it hopefully all the art finished by January, hopefully. And so, but I want to take my time, produce a book that mainstream cannot do right now because the industry doesn't support that. There is no artist out there willing to put in that kind of amount of work unless they are getting paid for that quality of work. And there are maybe one or two out there that are big name artists who are, pulling back from a monthly book and, trying to produce a higher quality book so that they stand out, but they're almost impossible to do out there because in the industry, there's nobody's going to pay that amount of money. And paid rates are getting lower and lower. Unfortunately, it's the reality of the comic business. But in crowdfunding, I can take my time, produce a really great book, and present it to my audience. At the same time, build up an audience as well when I start marketing my book. But first, I want to concentrate on my book, then worry about build up an audience, market the book for a while, and present the book to them and say, here's this book, custom tailored and made. Here's a book that is a Bugatti. Yes, this type of book, crowdfunding, can cost a little more, but it's more than it's not a retail item. It's a book that you're supporting an artist, you're supporting a comic book that doesn't have ideology in it, doesn't have politics in it. It doesn't have anything in it that it's just creative story, entertainment. And we're taking it back to the time when comic books were fun, entertaining, and heroes were just that. They were heroes, something that we could look up to, someone that we could aspire to be. You know, they were in part of fascinating stories. These aren't characters just sitting around having coffee, talking about what's your pronoun. You know, there isn't any of that happening in this book. These are characters that have flaws. They have strengths, weaknesses, and I show these characters in a situation facing adversity, and how these characters overcome their adversity, you know, is what could be inspiring to people. You know, watching these characters go through, you know, trials and tribulations, and showing their struggles and their inner struggle, and then at the end, you know, showing their victory or their somewhat victory, and showing that maybe an inspirational in a way that we can relate to it, because we all go through struggles in life almost daily. Every day in life is basically, there are challenges out there depending where you live, who you are, what you know, region, wherever you are. You know, struggles could, age is different. You know, can change the type of struggles that you face daily. But I want a comic book that inspires. And so this comic book, you know, yeah, it's gonna be a $25 donation, you know, pledge to it, and you get a comic book, but there are a lot more perks to it. You're gonna get no ads, straight quality story, high quality artwork that you could watch as I'm working on it. You can watch me work on pages, see how the book was developed, a behind the scenes look. You get commentary when you watch me work on live streams. There are so many other advantages. It's so interactive that it's so different than what the mainstream can offer. In the mainstream, it's just, you know, here it is, and they push it on you. Here you go. Here's our book with our superheroes sitting in a coffee, asking each other about their pronouns. You've got no choice about it. You had no idea it was in there when you bought it. And, you know, here it is. We push it on you. And when you want to write us back, there's no place to write us back, because, you know, we're not on social media. We're not active anywhere. But I am. I'm a creator where you can come back and say, I loved your comic, or your comic was crap, you know, and both are welcome, you know, an honest one. I mean, you know, your honest opinion about it. But that's some of the great benefits that crowdfunding has. It separates crowdfunding. It allows creators to be creative. And I hope that you guys support creators, myself, others, anybody else out there. And I hope that that you guys do. Grim J666 says, I'm foreign. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's, you know, honestly, here in America, you know, we're very proud, and I would love to see, no offense to you being in another country, but I would love to see jobs go American first. Jobs that we can go to America first, because this is it's the American dollar being spent on these books. So I believe that it would be great that if we can have Americans, you know, as far as American artists, or even the printer I use is here in America. I use the printer here in America, trying to keep it as long as I can here in America. Of course, the cost of paper and things are going up, but I'm okay with, you know, having foreign artists as well, because my favorite artists are foreign artists. Even long before, my favorite artist is Rudy Nebra. Rudy Nebra is from the Philippines. You know, Alfredo Alcala. You know, we got Jimenez. Even or the new young Jimenez, Jorge Jimenez. He's in Spain, which is where my father's from. So I support Spanish artists. There's tons of Spanish artists out there. You know, George Jimenez. You know, there's a lot of other artists out there in the European, a lot of artists in South America that are fantastic artists. So I think it's great. Keep the competition going. Keep it worldwide. Good, friendly competition is good. So when I say that, you know, I would like to have, you know, if Americans are spending money on an American comic book, I would like those jobs first to come to Americans. I would love to see that. But know that I'm also not saying that, you know, I think honestly, as well, I understand that the best artists should fill that job, right? It's a shame right now, mainstream, it's political. You know, they will cut people because of their political beliefs or religious beliefs. But I'm a big believer in put the best person in the right position, because they can do the job. So if there's somebody out there, Lino Francis Yu is an amazing Filipino artist. I love his work. I think he's done a great job contributing, to the comic book industry. David Finch, he's a good friend, fantastic artist. He's Canadian. He's not American. He's not here in America. Yeah, he's a good friend. I love his work. His work has inspired me. It's influenced my work. So no, I'm not. I guess it's tough to clarify when I say that, that they are outsourcing the work. So if they're going to outsource the work, outsource it because it's a good, fantastic artist who is going to contribute something to the comic industry, and not because we can't afford artists. We can't afford to support American artists. I'd like the economy in our country to be able to support America, to be able to keep American jobs. I would love that. That's just my personal beliefs, and I hope that you don't take anything personal. And I know that you're welcomed here. Welcome to watch the show. Give your opinion and all those things. Rudy Nebus is great. Grim Jim 666 says, same. I'm in the UK. Similar things going on. Oh, so you understand? You're trying to say, so yeah, that's. Let me see. Did I miss anybody else's here? For some reason, the YouTube started the stream halfway through it. Yeah, YouTube will do that. It will. It'll either be. What if you just called out John Malin to a challenge right now? Just mad dogged him. Do it. I honestly, art is subjective. And honestly, I don't look at myself and rank myself to other artists. I don't look at another artist's work and go, I'm better than they are. I just simply look at it as they're my peer. Every artist has their strengths and weaknesses, where I can draw animals very well. I can draw horses and wolves. John can probably draw tech or something, just examples, right? We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and everybody has their favorite type of art, type of thing. So I think to try to attack another artist for their work or at a technical level of skill is just a waste of time. Because, like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. There are people out there that love and rave about Picasso, and Picasso, I mean, look at proportions and stuff, where it may be art that I don't understand, I don't get, but other people do, and they love it and they appreciate it. So I would never call out another artist, not because I would fear that, I'm not at their level or think that I'm above their level. It's neither or. I honestly just see people as my peers, as artists, and Aaron Lepresti is another artist that I really admire. I like his work. I like watching him draw. When I watch them draw, I don't actually go, I could have done that better. Only thing I can honestly say is I would have done that differently. And that's the truth about art, is that we all approach it differently. And I think that's what is going to continue making comic books amazing. It's having a wide diversity in art style, and the way we approach art. So honestly, if I ever said anything, at all, I would never call out another artist at all. So I got people ringing my doorbell, and my camera's going off. So I'm going to end the stream here. I'm going to check my cameras. And, my comic books. Hey, they are delivering my comic books. So I'm going to run. I'm still a big comic nerd. I still collect comic books. I still read comic books. I like comics. And what I'm currently doing, unfortunately right now, I don't go to the comic store as much. I'm not against going to a local comic store. I think it's great. I love it. I love to go out there and meet other people that are into comic books. Comic book stores are so niche that you really meet people that have going there because they want comics. There's a lot of people there collecting cards and playing tabletop games, stuff like that. But I've been buying comic books from the 90s. I've been going back and trying to rediscover my passion that I had back in the 90s when I first discovered comic books. First comic book I ever owned was Wildcats #1. And I also got a copy of Youngblood #1, which I think was a reprint at that time. And I fell in love with comics. So I'm going back, buying all those old comics as I can afford it, and to just re-spark things. I know that the stories aren't going to hold up. I know that some of the art style is not going to hold up, but it's not about that, because it wasn't about that when I was discovering it. It was just great. It was just a good experience, and I want to go back and hopefully just be a kid again. I wasn't really a kid. Well, I was a kid. I was 19 years old, I think, when I first found comics. And I want to go back and find that passion again, and remember, because there's so much toxicity. I've been watching streams online where they're just battling each other, SJWs against, non-woke, and then non-woke against non-woke, and there's this faction and that faction, and these people, that people. It's like, it's taken the passion, the flame, the fire, and it's dimmed that passion for me. So I'm going back. I stopped watching a lot of those live streams. I don't watch them. I mean, sure, it's kind of fun to watch the latest gossip for a little bit, and then it can get pretty toxic and can affect the way I think and feel about the industry. And I don't want that influence. I don't even watch shows out there that are talking about, oh, we don't like the Acolyte. Oh, we didn't like this. I watched the Acolyte to discover it for myself, to experience it for myself. I didn't like it. Sure. So we agreed on that. They didn't like it. I didn't like it. There were a few things about it I liked and enjoyed. I wouldn't have discovered that. There were a few things about it that I go, oh, that is an interesting idea that I could probably use in one of my stories, and inspired some type of creativity in my story that if I hadn't experienced that, I wouldn't be able to it wouldn't have inspired an idea for me. And I could go, oh, this is the way I would have done it. And it inspired me to tell my own story. So I would have been robbed of that. So I don't let people rob me of anything now, of that experience. So I watched it, but yeah, I mean, I didn't like the Acolytes. I'm sorry if you guys did, out there. There were little things I did like. And so I'm going back and rereading all these comic books out there that I got back in the 90s, and things that I'm just flipping through it, and it's nostalgic. It is fun. I got Gen 13 issues 1 through 5 issues 1 through 5 for the first miniseries, and I'm rereading this stuff, and it's a little dated, but I remember where I was, the feeling I got, what inspired me about it, and I want to have that flame, that fire again, that passion. And I hope that it burns bright enough that it will attract people. People will say, Jimmy, man, you are so excited about comics. You love this artwork. Your work is creative. You've got something amazing here going on, and they want to be part of it. And then I can inspire other creators, light their flame, and then it just spreads across, and we repair this industry. We get people that are passionate about it. We get people that love comics, making comics for people that love comics, or even for people that are just now discovering comics. We want to, make good comics again. And that's just my personal belief. It's what I'm doing. I don't know. I mean, you guys may agree, disagree. Grim Jim says, yeah, it's great. I think most of us use the art competition or entertainment and just like it for the cool and banter. It's what you can do in the time. Only Smiller takes them serious. I'm not competitive. I mean, friendly competition I think is great. I started a little friendly competition against Aaron Lopresti. Aaron Lopresti, I should clarify that Aaron Lopresti, I respect him as an artist. I love his work. I've gotten to know him a bit more as a person, and I like the guy. I like Aaron a lot. I look up to Aaron's work, to be honest. And I admire his work. I mean, I think of everybody as my peer. Everybody is my equal, right? Even David Finch. I think of Dave as my peer. We're both working professionals, and he treats me like a peer. He treats me at the same level. He's never talked down to me. And so that's inspired me to think, but anyway, Aaron's work, every time I see it, I admire it. I like it. And I thought it would be good for both of us if, you really never have a monopoly in comic books. I'm creating a book in the same genre he is, but our books are not anything alike. Although I joke that they're a lot more alike than they really are, because they're really not. To create a nice, friendly competition And Aaron gets competitive. So I kind of picked and poked at it where he'd like to be the only book out there, doing a Western horror. But he had to have known it's never going to be that way. You're never going to be the only one. Even if like guys that are on the top right now, it's a rotating door in the industry. People like your work for a while, then it changes. So people get to be on top for a little while, then it kind of rotates. Then a different art style comes in, or a different trend, and it changes. So with Aaron, I came in with the book. He did get a little bit competitive. So when I got that reaction, I thought it was funny. So I thought I'd run with it, make like a little bit out of it. So really, it's really just a bit. I'm not really trying to take his spot. I don't really care about anybody else's spot. I just like doing my own thing. But I thought it'd be nice for both of us if we create this friendly competition. We get this funny banter back and forth, and we get people talking about, oh my God, Jimmy's creating this book that's in the same genre like his, and it's a Western with a wraith in it as well, and it's got vampires too and a werewolf, and get people curious about it. Then it would get people to start talking about our books, to start looking at our books, and it was just a good friendly competition, and it would get him to start drawing, elevating his level, because I know he can elevate even further. And then when he does, I will too. I'll go, oh my God, I want to keep up with Aaron. So at the end product, it's the consumer, the readers, the fans who win. They get better books, better products, and they get more of what they like. So friendly competition creates that entrepreneur, right? What is that called? Like creativity creates innovation. Innovation creates entrepreneur. I'm drawing a blank. I gotta go have lunch, and I gotta go get my comic books. You guys are all amazing. I think you guys are great, and so I appreciate it. The Game Mechanic says, Jimmy, your work speaks for itself. Thank you. I really want, when you see my work, I hope that people look at it and go, this is a guy who loves what he's doing. He loves what he's doing. So, alrighty, man. I'll see you guys. I said, man. I say man, but I know that there are also women watching. Now I know that I've got family that are females. Got my niece, sometimes my sister. I know that you guys watch. So I mean everybody out there, all you guys and gals. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, links in the description of this video. Go over, get your free gifts. Free gifts, Clip Studio Paint if you draw digital. Go over and get that. I think there's a printable. Let me double check before I tell you guys. If you draw traditional, I think there is a printable template at 11 by 17, I think, in this one as well. I don't see it in the description, so I might be wrong about that, but I'll double check if it's in there. I think there was one that you could print out on your own blank Bristol board, and you can have the exact measurements that I had gotten from the DC art boards that I had worked on when I inked Dave on a Batman piece, and it was on a DC art board. So I recreated those measurements, making a in the style of DC comic art board for you to print. Might be in there. I have to double check it later. If not, great stuff for you guys for Clip Studio Paint. You guys take it easy, and I'll see you guys again in the next live stream. So.